look at that. I want to say welcome to Krissy Camacho, a business contact and a friend who I met. I don't even know. I think it was at an RSA, like
it was many years ago.
1,000 years ago at least. And I want to say welcome to Countdown to RSAC, the show, second episode of maybe like 5 or 6. I've got several more guests lined up already. So I've got let's see, Bronwyn Hudson is coming from Upticks, so she'll be here after a little while, in a few days, and then George Kamid. Sorry, got doubled up there. George Kamid's coming, and I don't know. He's got his own deal going, so that'll be fun. I don't really know him. Danny Wolf is coming. Peter Wheeler is coming. It looks like AJ Nash from ZeroFox is going to be here a little bit later, and so I'm still trying to wrangle some people. So if you know anybody who's going to RSA, has a perspective, would love to have them out. So if you're in the audience, would love to see some comments, because that's the juice that keeps me going, keeps keeps me sort of on task and all about it. But this show is about Krissy, and I want to say welcome, Krissy. Welcome to. What day is it? It's Tuesday. I think it's a Tuesday. Yes.
Yes.
And we're gonna get into a few things. So we kind of got two tales. So I want to dive into them. We have plenty of time, I think, to make that happen. But okay, so I just take it down a notch because I get kind of amped up. So this is your first LinkedIn Live, right?
Yes. No pressure. Don't mess it up, right?
Yeah. Well,
I've done lives before, just not on this particular platform. So glad to finally be doing that on your show. Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Okay. Well, guess what? We get to mess up as much as we want. It is permitted and embraced in the LinkedIn Live environment, because we're just going live. We're making it up as we go along. We're trying to be real, trying to be accessible, right? That's the thing. I really see like live shows as being having a leg up on other things. Now they're hard to get attendance, right? You're hard to get a whole bunch of people unless you're some sort of celebrity, and okay, and we're not. All right, so
what do I want to be?
All right. Well, we're just a couple of dopes who are out here, trying to make a living and get going on stuff, okay, so we don't get a lot of people to hang out with us, so there's not a lot of pressure. We can just have ourselves a conversation. All right, Krissy. So two things we're gonna hit. We're gonna talk. I want to talk about Tricrest Growth Advisors. I want to understand like how that happened, what your sort of the genesis of this business is and was and has been, and kind of where you see it going, and so on and so forth, right? And then the second thing is I want to talk about RSA, because man, it's a big show, right? It's big, and you learned last week from Gianna that you are officially eligible to go to the Cybersecurity Marketing Society party. Now, I was determined to make sure that was on tap for you, and it is. So I fully expect to see you May 5th. So we're going to dive into that as well. All right, Krissy, I'm just here. Yap. All right, your turn. So tell our audience a little bit about, because there's a lot of folks in my network, and we don't have any comments yet, but it could be that LinkedIn's broken. Who knows? That's pretty common. Who are solopreneurs, who are doing that thing, and you're doing it, like you're out here doing it. So lay it on. What's the story? How did that happen?
Yeah, it's a fun one. So I do come from a pretty long line of entrepreneurs. So you could say it's kind of in my blood. I've been kind of fighting it off for a number of years. No major global enterprises run or anything in my family, but lots of small business owners, my parents and both of their parents. So I have always talked myself out of it for a number of years now, primarily saying, I don't know how to run a business. And I never wanted to be a C-level. That was not on my goal list in general. So I like to take risks, but I do also like to take very calculated risks. And so I think that after I left my last company, I took a whole month off, which I've never done before, did absolutely nothing. And it was absolutely everything. And it was during that time that I started really thinking about what's next, and started really thinking that an online business would be something that not only do I think I could do, but I'd enjoy doing, and got to a point where I said, why not now? But I did identify 3 kind of key ways that I assessed that risk before I decided to move forward. So I thought I'd share this with folks today.
Okay. I want to hear that, but I'm going to call a timeout.
Yep.
Because I don't believe that you did nothing for an entire month. I'm just not buying it. That's true. That's total BS. So you might not have worked. Okay, I'll give you that. You might not have worked, like done whatever the work is. Okay, but come on, lay it on me. What did you go out? Did you walk the dog? Did you do any home improvement? Did you meditate? Go to a yoga retreat? Out of something, anything. Come on.
Well, I did go to the sauna. I guess that counts. And we took a vacation. So I did do some things, but nothing productive, I would say. So we went to the Maldives. It's like 19 hours away here from the East Coast, right? I was like, we're going to go somewhere fancy.
Okay. So I didn't do anything. I just went to the Maldives. That's all. Who goes to the Maldives? I've never been to the Maldives.
You were spot on. I did some things, just nothing work related whatsoever. It was family, vacation, and a lot of just staring out the windows of my house.
Right. I know you want to get to your three things, but I want to know more about the Maldives. Tell me.
Yes.
Didn't what's her name? Wonder Woman, that actress, doesn't she go to the Maldives or something?
Probably. Yeah, it's definitely a celebrity place, but
yes. What is
tiny little island. When you get to the airport, you actually have to take a boat to get to the island where you're staying. So that was a first.
Okay.
Very, it's the furthest away we've ever been from home. I have 2 little kids. So they made the trip with us, which was excellent. Nice. And it took us only 10 minutes to walk around the entire island. That's how tiny and remote this was. So again, just my brain didn't do a lot of thinking in that time, but it was fantastic.
Okay. So it was one little Maldivian island that you went. So there's multiple apparently. So you fly to the main place, and then you take a boat. Okay. Got it. All right. So now you get the Maldives, you get some relax, you're with your kids. Okay. So you're gearing up, right? And you come up with your 3. Okay. So here we are, right? So we've got Krissy Camacho, we've got Tricrest. What's behind that name? So that's the tri. There it is. See, I'm making the connection.
You got it. I have a fun story for that one. It's a little interesting. So we come back from the Maldives, and typical me, I was like, I'm going to take a few months off, but after 1 month, I'm like, I'm bored. What's next? What am I going to do here? And I was thinking about starting this online marketing business, and I was doing dishes of all things, staring out my kitchen window. And these 3 blue jays just landed on the windowsill right in front of me. And I thought, well, that's got to be a sign. And they have little crests. So there's 3 of them. And I translated that into the name. And the reason I put mountains as my icon is I really founded the business to work with startups. I've been at startups. I know what a grind that is, and that it feels like climbing mountains is what I thought, just to get to the top peak. And so that's how I kind of translated random birds into the name. And I've not shared that story. You're the first to know the genesis of the name, how it came about. So
I love that. It's deeply personal, and it resonates. So I get it. I do want to take one time out here. We have Melissa Houston. She's over on YouTube, left us a couple comments. Melissa Houston's actually a great friend of mine, lives in Bellingham, the same community as I do. So we're both LinkedIn freakos who go crazy on this platform all the time. And so she's here and hanging out with us. So I want to say thanks, Melissa, for leaving a comment. If you're on the LinkedIn platform, please leave a comment. Okay, so we got bluebirds, we got mountains, we got personal connection, Tricrest. Okay, there we are. All right, so now you're ready to go. So lay it on us.
Yeah, so here are 3 things that I kind of went through to assess my risk of potentially starting their own business. So the first is you'll do yourself a good service if you have become an expert at something. And this could be in your professional line of business. For me, of course, it's marketing, about to celebrate 20 years, which I hate to admit, but also love to admit. So although I'm still learning, I don't claim to know everything. I think most people consider you after 20 years to be an expert. If you're early on in your career, maybe you coach youth soccer in your personal life, and you've done that for enough years that you could translate that into a business where you charge a premium for one-on-one private lessons or something like that. So think about where you might be considered an expert, and just know that that's going to build a lot of credibility for your business right off the bat. It can be very useful. The second piece is
I'm going to put that in the comments because nobody else is commenting. So so first thing is, hang on, I'm going to get there. because I can't type though. Is to be an expert typer.
Still working on it, I see.
Expert. Okay, so done. All right, that's the first rule. All right, there we go. Okay, second
is more of a personality trait, I guess I'd say. Are you disciplined, and do you consider yourself to be highly self-motivated? And the reality is, if you start a business, you become all the departments overnight. So if you don't like the ops side of a business, if you don't like to sell, Trevor, I know like that's your profession, but not everyone can sell themselves and their services. So you just have to consider, can you wake up every day and get yourself doing the right things at the right time and keeping that business moving forward? I think that's an important one from what I've seen.
Okay. All right. So being self-driven, right? And disciplined.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm leaving it in here in the disciplined. Done. All right. Sean Keegan is in the house as well. Love seeing him. He is my colleague. He will actually be with us at the Cybersecurity Marketing Society party on May 5th, and then bumming around the show floor with me and Aziz. So we'll all, the three of us, be. All right. So number 3, what is your third requirement?
So I can't stress this enough. I mentor a lot of marketers, and I always tell them this as well. It's build your network now. Do not wait until you need something from the network and inauthentically try to build and then hammer your network with the ask of helping you, launch a business, for an example. So build now. Don't ask people for things. Make it authentic. When you're out at RSA, meet with people and connect with them on LinkedIn. You continue to build over time. I've seen a lot of folks trip up on this piece and wait and start their LinkedIn, when they're trying to launch a business, and it's a little you're just kind of behind the ball at that point.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, we got Daisy in the house now too, right? So hello, Daisy. Thank you for leaving this compliment to Krissy. I'm sure Daisy did not leave that for me. So
you never know. Hi, Daisy. Good to see you.
Daisy and I aren't well acquainted, so I'm guessing that she's here for you. So awesome. Thank you, Daisy, for leaving us a comment here. And I get that vibe from you, Krissy. Like that, I bet you were a fantastic mentor to Daisy and to other folks on your teams, and I bet they're missing you like crazy.
I miss them right back. I tell them all the time. So
yeah.
Daisy's a fantastic marketer as well. So thanks for doing it.
So I got to write it down. So the third thing was requirement is to build your network, is to type faster than you talk. Okay. There we go. All right. Got it. Okay. So now what I want to know is, are you fulfilling your own requirements? Have you done that? Okay. So we're building network, right? Like we're friends, and you got to go to B2BMX, right?
Yes.
So that happened. Did you build network there? Was that a successful event? Because we really didn't get to kind of do any kind of a breakdown on that. So let's just talk about B2BMX for a minute while we're here. How'd that go for you?
Yeah, it was great. I met a ton of people. I connected with every speaker. I attended a lot of really great sessions, got to connect with those folks. So definitely great networking, a lot of sessions. I haven't sat all day in a conference in a while, so it was good to get back out there and do that. But I thought it was fantastic. Met a lot of different marketers from a lot of different paths, met a number of sales folks. So really great. It was my first time at that conference, as you know, so it was fantastic.
Well, I'm super pumped that you got to go, and I'm glad like you and I get to meet each other in person again. So like, we're sort of like, I pulled that clip from Gianna yesterday about how cool it is to meet in person, right? That like that's like a universal, I don't know, what the universal need, I think, for us, for particularly us digital, junkies. So. Where we sit behind these screens and these environments are contrived. I'm not actually sitting in front of a beautiful view of San Francisco. I'm not sure if anybody kind of figured that out, but I'm not actually there. But I'm gonna be, and nor are you, in front of the Moscone Center, because that is a beautiful massage. All right. So you got this going. So you got your 3 requirements. All right. Now you've convinced yourself, I'm good. I'm ready to go. So was there a moment? Was there like a moment of like, did you see opportunity? Like, what was the thing that said, man, I got to do this. I got to go. Like, how did that come down?
Yeah, no, I mean, candidly, I was thinking about applying to an in-house job, and I had a very strong aversion to it out of nowhere. I've never had that happen before. And I thought, I just can't picture myself doing that just yet. And I don't know if it was because I only took that month off and it should have been more, but I just felt like now was the time. And I just started putting a few feelers out with folks. I was considering just freelancing and not fully forming a business. But got some good advice that, hey, if you have, certain IP you want to protect, you should just form a business. And I went that path. I founded very quickly. I launched very quickly, and built a website quickly. In typical fashion, I move at a fast pace. So I just went full steam ahead. And my LinkedIn post where I launched and announced there actually drove some business for me. Again, that wonderful network is very, very powerful. So I just got off to a really good start and kind of haven't looked back since then. Used the first couple customers, refer me to new customers, and just hopefully can continue that trend. Only about 9 months or so in now, but everything's been great so far.
9 months. Okay. It seems like yesterday to me. Like
it does to me too.
I don't know where the time's gone, but I remember you where you were at your previous employer, and then okay, so and then you were doing your own thing. I'm like, that was last week sometime, I think, wasn't it?
It goes fast. I blink and here we are.
Yeah. Okay. So what type of clients are you looking for? What sort of services are you providing to them?
Sure. All marketing services. I think anything a marketer would typically do, from messaging and positioning to market analysis, which is an area I've been doing probably the most work in, win-loss analysis, really figuring out marketing strategy and executing to drive net new customer acquisition. At the end of the day, usually that's what it's about. I, again, mentioned I founded to work with startups. So I've been blessed that all of my customers are startups. They're in the security space, and anywhere from seed to like a Series C kind of. So earlier to kind of mid growth stage startups. So lots of rapid learnings being in those environments. It's been really awesome to see different complex environments and work with founders on different issues that they have, and help them, rethink the way they are going to market.
Okay. All right. So when I was writing up my promotion post for the day, I edited it out. I said, okay, I said marketing agency, and then I changed it to growth consultancy.
Love it.
And I don't know if you saw that, but it was pretty quick, because I wanted to really try to capture, I felt like, what you were trying to do, or at least what I perceived you were trying to do. And that sounds like you're trying to operate at a pretty strategic level. So are you actually running, like, placing ad campaigns and running the, turning the knobs and making banners and, writing copy and stuff? Or are you more like, okay, these are the components we need, and then we'll hire additional resources?
Yeah, I mean, I do want to stay solopreneur for a while. It's sustained growth by design, I think, at this point. So definitely working more on the strategic advisory side. I am placing ads and doing that tactical work as well. However, I think I often tell people I'm anti-agency, don't believe in retainers, don't expect startups to sign a 12-month contract, so agency, I'm glad you deleted that out. Definitely trying to be something different, make it easy to work with me versus kind of the agency model, which is typically, locking people into long-term contracts and stuff like that. So consultancy, perfect. Very
perfect. Okay. So when you come in, do you position yourself as like a fractional, like, employees, but maybe just like part-time, high level sort of? Is that how it is, or are you like more sort of consultant for hire kind of?
I'm doing a little bit of both. So I work on the fractional side. Sometimes it's essentially their first marketer in seat. They've done no true go-to-market previously. So it's coming up with, everything from the ground up. That's usually a handful of hours on a week for a longer term basis, building, everything they need for them. And then on the flip side, especially for some of my earlier stage customers, we're working on a project basis. So it's very much hourly. We're completing something very specific. And then I kind of train them to take what they learned in-house, and then they go about their way and come back to work with me if they need help down the road. So I'm doing a little bit of both, and maybe down the road I'll pick one path or the other. But for now, it's been really interesting to see what it's like to be embedded as a fractional versus a true consultant. You feel very much like an outsider, and so there's different pros and cons to both. So I'm just exploring both ways.
Okay. All right. So you're out. I mean, you're doing the thing. I just, hat tip there, because it's a dream for a lot of people, and I want to just acknowledge, like, that's cool, and you're working with people who are also doing it, right? So
Mhm.
how many clients do you have, if you can share that, and
Yeah.
how many are you looking to acquire?
Yeah, I have 10 right now. I was really excited to hit that double-digit number. 9 of the 10 are startups, and then I do have one very large global enterprise. I'll mainly stick with startups, but someone in my network who worked at an enterprise wanted to work together, so of course not gonna say no to that. But
No.
yeah, and I think what I found with this type of consultancy work is projects and hours can be very fluid, which is good, but also you want to never take on too many clients at one time. So I'm still kind of playing a little Tetris with all the different customers. But yeah, hit that 10 number and continue to take on new ones as I go along.
Okay. All right. Well, then that dovetails us right into, or segues us right into, RSA, right? So, I'm a seller for Infuse, and I'm interested in acquiring new clients as well, right? So that's, we're in this space, and we're providing, content marketing, services and demand generation services and so on, right? And so I'm going because it's inherently relational, right? What we're doing and how these conversations get started, and how trust gets built, right? We need to be together, for a certain period of time, and we can kind of, we can accelerate that a little bit, by going to trade shows and things like that, and make it a little bit more efficient. And so I'm really excited about that. So you said, I think in a comment last week, that you've been to 10 RSAs.
This will be
That
my 10th officially.
Holy crap, that's a ton. That's easily twice as many as me, if not 2.5, because I'm not sure I've been to 5. I think I've been to 4. I lost track. I quit counting, right? So good on you that you've counted. So how many different companies have you been at RSA for?
I want to say it'll be 4, but I'd need to go back and count. I early on in my career was working in public sector, like selling B2G. So my first RSA was in that, and then moved on to tech since then. So I want to say it's 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
And any crazy stories I want to hear. You got to have at least a couple. All right.
I
So
know. Well, I know you mentioned horror stories, and I was racking my brain before I came on here today. I thought as cheesy as it sounds, been relatively positive experiences over the years. And there's always a lot of partying, so you can imagine, there's some stories there to be told. But no, for the most part, it's been really positive, lots of fun. I think there's people who are drained by events. This is one of those events where you will get drained. There's a lot of talking, a lot of walking, a lot of handshaking, but all good experiences on my side. So I think it's one of the biggest network builders if you're in cybersecurity or adjacent markets. You can just meet so many people. So do not forget your business card or whatever you're using to connect to people, because you're going to want to give those out.
Yeah, I'm using the LinkedIn QR code now. I think that's that's the new thing, right? I mean, we've all got mobile. Everybody's got a LinkedIn profile, and so at least in the sales and market, in the go-to-market side of the business, I mean, maybe not at the end of the day, for the IT, IT security person, but we're all doing LinkedIn. So that's basically the business card. I used to have I'm not going to do it this year, but I had I used to have I put my business card sticker on a Starbucks gift card.
Well, that's smart.
And I managed to get actually a couple of deals, kind of a couple conversations that turned into programs, using that method. But I don't know. I like Phil's, so I'm tired of taking Starbucks gift cards to RSA. I want to go to Phil's, because Phil's is the best. Have you been to Phil's?
No, but I see you talking about it, so I'm going to go, and I'll let them know you sent me, because I've never been.
So here's the deal. So Phil's is PHILZ, right? And so Phil's was the preferred coffee of the show Silicon Valley, right? So that's where they went. They would go to Phil's Coffee, and I mean, maybe not everybody loves Phil's like I do, but what they do is they use these giant paper filters, like the industrial size. They grind up you order what you want. You get this huge menu, and they have all these different bean roasts and whatnot. And so you select the one you want, right? And you say, oh, I want this one. And the one I like dark. I kind of like them burned and stuff. I don't like that fruity coffee, right? So, I mean, I know I'm not very sophisticated. Okay, I know like the Portland sophisticated coffee guys like the fruity stuff. It doesn't appeal to me. I like it dark, it's smoky and stuff. All right, so they got one of those. So the first time I go in there, they say, well, what do you want? I'm like, I want the dark. Okay, great. Well, do you want the cream and sugar? I'm like, I don't know. Do I want the cream and sugar? And they say, yeah, you want the cream and sugar. And I'm like, okay, all right. I'm normally drinking black, but I'm like, okay, let's do the cream and sugar. I honestly, it's like it just gives me tingles. I mean, it's so good. It's just like the first drink. It's like, oh, it's like
You're hooked.
I'm hooked. I'm hooked, and I can't. I haven't been back to San Francisco now for a couple years. I missed last year. I was there for 22, and then everything was going great, and then the wheels fell off the tech business bus. I mean, literally, like it was June. I think it was a late show that year, and then like I get home and I have all these conversations that are great, and they're all lined up, ready to go, and everybody disappeared. And like all of a sudden, just it was Armageddon and the layoffs. That's like that next week, everything just like just went crazy. So last year I gave it a rest and didn't come out. So all right, so I got my fills. All right, so you have a favorite place you like to go? I mean, you know, this where do you like to eat? Like where do you like to stay? I mean, you've kind of been around the block, right?
Yeah. Well, I always go to this one place, probably at least 2 or 3 times at RSA. Almost every night I'll make it. The view at the Marriott Marquis. It's at the very top. If you go at sunset, there's, panoramic view. It's my absolute favorite place to go. Anybody who's been with me at RSA, if they're watching this, they'll know I always we got to go to the view at some point. So that would be the number. You can go breakfast, lunch, dinner. It doesn't matter. You can go after the Cybersecurity Marketing Society party if you want. It should be open. But I noticed a lot of places close really early during RSA week, as early as 10 p.m. So just fair warning, figure out where you want to go. A lot of places close. But yeah, the view is my favorite. Bourbon and Branch is another really good one. It's a kind of a speakeasy feel. So that's if you can get in, you'll really enjoy it.
All right. So Bourbon and Branch, is that nearby? Can you walk there or?
Yeah, definitely. Anywhere walking distance is great.
Okay. Do you have a favorite hotel you like to stay at?
Oh, geez. I would stay at the Marriott Marquis as well, but I pretty much stay whatever I can get under $500 a night.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. Well, you're out somewhere in like flipping. I don't. In Oakland probably.
Exactly. I'm going to be at Hotel Zeta this time around. It's really close to Moscone. I try to just stay as close to Moscone as possible. Where are you going to be?
We're going to be at the Kabuki.
Okay.
Which is not close, but is an official RSA hotel. So there's a bus, which we'll have access to, and it's up in Japantown. So that's nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, that's an interesting neighborhood, and it's a little bit, it's kind of a mix of amazing sushi. Like they got a little mall up there. I don't know if you've been up there, but there's a little. Yeah, it's like a little Japanese mall, and it has all kinds of cool Japanese stuff, right? That I don't see in Bellingham, Washington for sure, and is kind of cool to go to, and it feels at least more authentic than what I have access to. So. That's kind of cool. And I've never been up to I don't even know where the Kabuki is. So I'm hopefully it's going to be cool and nice. So yeah, we'll be up there, and hopefully there'll be some other people hanging around, and maybe there'll be some later times and all that. At least maybe some stuff will be open up in that neighborhood.
One of my other survival tips for RSA is at some point get out of the city center proper to get a little breathing space from the 50,000 plus people that are in there for RSA. So you might be, by the end of the conference, excited to be up there where you are, honestly.
Yeah, there's been an afternoon here and there where I've been sort of marooned with like, what am I gonna do now, right? So I've wandered up into like Haight-Ashbury and and up in those areas and kind of cruise around and have some fun. Go out to the beach occasionally, and it's always like 14 degrees out there, and wind, like wind blowing, gale force. You can barely stand up, but hey, it's cool. It's crazy just to think like, oh wow, this is huge beach out there that totally is gorgeous, but sucks because it's iceberg. But what are you gonna do, right? So awesome. All right, so you this is your 10th one. You like this okay, got it. So where are we? We've got what else are we gonna do, right? So what are we gonna do on Sunday evening after the party? We gotta think of something. Anything?
I would do the view. I got to give the plug for the view.
All right. So we're gonna make our way over to the Marriott Marquis, and we're gonna hang out there. All right. So there you go. That's the plan. So if Gianna's listening, because she was open to doing something afterwards too. So we're gonna march over to the Marriott Marquis. Hopefully it's near Novello, and we can get there, and we'll shut it down because it's gonna be closed at 10. So.
And I have to be up at 5 a.m. the next day. So for me, it will be an unseasonably early night for me as well. But
yeah. All right. So enough about us for a minute. Let's talk a little bit about the challenges of the cybersecurity marketer that like you as the startup marketer are facing. Like what are you seeing out here in terms of like what are startups up against, and what are their customers really interested in?
Yeah, I love that question. Before I started my business, I did a bit of a market assessment just to see how many potential customers might be out there for me. And I ran into a stat that was kind of mind blowing. It said that in the US alone, there's 3 million B2B startups that are founded each year. 3 million. Those are not tech startups only, but 3 million businesses, and 90% are going to fail. 20% are going to fail in their first year. And I thought, I've heard a lot out there in the market, marketers saying, oh, growth at all costs is not a thing anymore. It's sustained growth. And I don't think I'm behind that. I think with that number of businesses starting up, if anything, they're facing more pressure to grow at any cost. Funding is, lower these days, resources, headcount is down. So I think startups are struggling with, especially in cybersecurity, it continues to be a noisy market. It's a crowded space. How do we position ourselves to not sound like all the other, products that are so similar? So, that continues to be a challenge, I think, for them. And so getting creative to position yourself differently when doing it with less money, less investment, and still doing it quickly. And I also think that there's a struggle with, I hate to even bring it up, but with AI, I see a lot of businesses who feel like they have to just jam the words AI into whatever they're doing. And there's a lot of lack of authentic use of AI, I think. So I think businesses are struggling to figure out how to utilize it and if they really need to or not.
Are you finding that they're wanting to build AI not just into their marketing and into their kind of messaging, but into their product and making it sort of, or is that the age that we're in where it just kind of has to be an AI thing?
Yeah, but I think the biggest concern, at least in our industry, is the privacy factor. So you can't, you need to be building something privately in-house. And I think some businesses are using, the open source or public AI, which is very problematic in cybersecurity. So I think it's just figuring out, how do we do this? How do we operationalize it without putting customer data at risk? And I think that's true for marketers as well. I think I don't necessarily feel like our jobs are going to be replaced by AI. I'm not necessarily in that camp of thinking, or that fear factor isn't. But I think figuring out how to use it to complement and accelerate what we're doing is going to be very important on the marketing side.
Something that you're just kind of talking about this and marketing and using AI and all that. I mean, it didn't really hit the frontal lobe until ChatGPT came out, and you could see it, you could touch it, right? And it was magic. It still is magic. I mean, it is incredible what it can do, and the level of conversation and the information that it feeds back to you. Now, I don't think that it's more efficient than a Google search for certain types of things, right? It's not. We figured that out. Like, so whatever that fear was initially, that's kind of gone away. But at the same time, it's magic, right? And it's like, oh, holy crap! This really fundamentally is something powerful. So, what I'm thinking about is is, as a marketer, what are we gonna do to, to make it work? So, for example, if we accept that LLMs are out here, right, and Gen AI is writing a lot of stuff, right? I think there's this idea that, oh, let me pose as if I wrote this, right? And let me just kind of put some like all the the ubiquitous LinkedIn fake posts and fake comments and stuff. I mean, and I call it fake, right? Because it's like AI. I should say AI driven. They're not fake. They're real, but they're AI generated. But what if we said, listen, I'm just going to accept. I'm going to accept that it isn't the output of ChatGPT or its competitors. It's the prompt. Okay. So if I'm going to write a blog post about this fancy thing or this problem or whatever, I'm going to intro that blog post with my prompt, right? Because everybody knows I'm going to use ChatGPT to do something. I mean, it's going to output something, right? It's going to do a lot of this grunt work of organizing and making it, flow and adding some stuff in and enhancing itself. But that prompt, that ugly, kind of rough idea is something I think where the kernel of interest lies. Do you buy that? Is that something that you've seen? Is anybody doing that? Am I just out on an island here?
Absolutely. No, I actually wrote a little ebook on this exact topic, and I put prompts in there that I kind of fine-tuned that worked well, because I think the prompts are everything. I completely agree, because it's context. Otherwise, it's junk in, junk out with that ChatGPT. So I think the prompts are everything. When I have it help me write something, it's like, here's the audience for this post, and here's what I'm trying to accomplish. Giving it all that context, it helps that first draft be a little stronger. Doesn't mean it's done when it comes out of ChatGPT or whatever platform you use. I tried a few of the other tools on the market as well, but it gives you some time back from writing that first draft, and then you just kind of perfect it and put it in your own tone. But yeah, I completely agree. Prompt is everything, and I think that's an area that marketers definitely we need to learn a little bit more on.
So I wonder though, like if you could say, okay, here's my post, right? Write blog, put it up, TricrestGrowthAdvisors.com/blog. Done. Okay. April 16th, blog. Here's my blog post, right? And it's ultimately you and ChatGPT came together and you wrote it, right? Great. Done. Everybody loves that. Okay, they get it. But they're like, hey, Krissy, you didn't write this whole thing yourself. No, I didn't. And I freely admit that. All right. I use ChatGPT because it's a great tool and it got this done. And here are the prompts that I used as like a PS. Right, or as a reference. There's a link, right? You want to know what prompts I use to write this thing? Here you go, boom, go, and you could just list them out. Like, hey, this is what I gave ChatGPT. So if you really want to know like the genesis of this ideation, here it is, right? And maybe that would give you, give like an air of like hyper authenticity, right? And I mean. That's the random idea, because I'm not a blogger, right?
No, I love that. I hadn't thought about that, but it's all about transparency, right? I think that's where people are not liking the side of AI, when they try to figure out if you use it or not, or you have to be secret. So just be transparent. I love that. I love that. If I end up doing that, I'm going to give you credit for the idea. I think it's great. Be more transparent with the audience. I think that's awesome. I think people appreciate that.
I did the blog to video conversion work back in well, it was November, December, and January, and basically I was reading blogs by tech vendors, some mostly cybersecurity, but a few others, and kind of peripheral related. And I got to a point because I got 100 of them, and then I stopped because I was like, wait a minute, there was one I came across that was so just obscenely obvious, like they didn't even edit it. It was. I'm like, are you kidding? It was like one prompt, boom, go. And I'm like, I can't even convert this thing. And I was using ChatGPT to help me to digest and make a script, right? And I don't think I ever was like super clear about that, but that's how it happened. Right? That's how I got those scripts to work. So it was a combination of me, producing a video product out of a script from a blog, and that script was generated with, ChatGPT, but it was oftentimes wrong. You know, it would oftentimes like go off on tangent. I would catch it and have to yell at it like, "Hey, you need to pay closer attention." It would apologize. "Oh, I'm very sorry." You know, and so you get into those kind of games, but eventually I just kind of had to step back. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. ChatGPT on top of ChatGPT, this at some level isn't really working. But I did see the struggle firsthand as I got into these blog posts, and I really started to watch them. Right, really started to watch like, hey, here's the rhythm, here's the publication pace, here's kind of the tone of this that this company is trying to catch, and I had to sort of step back and say, man, this isn't really that great. It's really not awesome. I mean, some of the content was okay, like as a one-off, but there wasn't like a cohesive kind of. Sorry, I can only keep my hands in here, otherwise the virtual background goes bonkers. It's a virtual background. It's an AI-driven background, but I'm not actually in San Francisco. Like there wasn't a cohesive story, right? There wasn't a reason for anybody to come back outside of maybe searching, for a thing, a keyword or some phrase or some problem, and maybe Google picking it up and maybe them ranking high enough to actually get that traffic. So as a marketer, right, it's trying to solve some of these problems. But what do you think about that? The whole, Google as a driver of solid traffic is kind of that of like the first, like we got to get that right. Do you buy that story? Is that part of your MO?
Yeah, I mean, I think, to the story you just told, I'm grappling with that myself. It's, I've been given the advice, like, you got to post more on LinkedIn and do more blog. But at some point, is it better to do less and have it be higher quality? Because that's always been my thinking, is I'd rather do less, but have it be high quality and authentic coming from me. And so I've been thinking, would I post more on LinkedIn if it was all ChatGPT generated? But I know it's not going to ever sound like me. People who know me, they're going to know that. So I haven't done it for that exact. So I think it's the same thing for businesses as well. Is it better to do a little less and have it be authentic and cohesive and really speak to, and that's where you need a human, right? To take all those different components and pull it together in a cohesive way. And that's that human element that prompts or not, I'm not sure if that can ever be done through AI or not. I don't think so, but we'll see down the road. All
right. So what do you see? Any predictions for us for the rest of the year? What do you see your business going to? What's your goal for client, like growth? And are you going to hire anybody? Are you going to stay solo? What's your plan there?
Yeah, it's funny as a growth consultancy for me to say I'm not looking to grow. I mean, I want to keep where I am. I truly do want to stay solo for now. I think the simplicity of running an online business by yourself is quite beautiful. I'm not ready to give that up yet, but of course I'll go where the business goes. So at some point can't do it all alone. But I think for this year, keep taking on clients. I have been having some opportunities outside of cybersecurity. So I think at some point I'll look to add other verticals into my repertoire, but just want to keep helping, these startups grow. I'd love to impact that 90% of startups will fail number and hopefully help do my part with those folks this year as well. So that's my full focus.
Okay. All right. So I do want to plug Mike Phillips' community for solopreneurs called The Gym. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Have you run across that yet? So Mike Phillips is a marketer. He's a good friend of mine. I've known him now for a couple of years, and he's built a solid community. I have a lot of friends in there, and he's dedicated, and he runs it really, really well. So if you find yourself needing support as a solopreneur, check it out. It's Mike Phillips from The Gym. Marketing Muscle is his brand, and it's just a solid guy, totally dedicated to supporting folks out here who are doing the work that you're doing. So with that, I think we are basically at time, and I want to say thank you so much for coming out. Our next event will be on Thursday. I've got Peter Wheeler coming out to talk to me, and I haven't met him in person, even though I've known him for a couple of years, and he and I are good friends by now. So I'm excited about that, and excited to see you in what are we? We're at 2 weeks? No, 3 weeks.
Yeah, just under. It's crazy. So yeah, I look forward to it. Hey, thanks for having me on. I'll be on. I think Peter was the one who told me it's going to be his first RSA, if I'm remembering correctly. So
okay.
Yeah,
well,
great.
that guy, man, he has got an eclectic background, but he's been in the cybersecurity trenches for a little while, and it'd be fun to hear kind of what his take is on the industry and all that. So tune in on a Thursday, same time. So yeah, I'll be back right here hanging out, and so hopefully, Krissy, you'll leave us a few comments, and until then, so have a great day. So don't run away. I'm going to push the end button. So we're going to wave goodbye to our guests here within the virtual background frame. All right, everybody, have a great afternoon. Love to all. Take care. Bye.